A Broadway classic is being performed right here in Austin. Zach Theater is putting on a production of Jersey Boys that is sure to have you singing the night away. Here to join us now are Nick Anastasia, starring as Frankie Valli, and Keith Gruber, starring as Bob Gaudio, to tell us a little bit more. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Morning.
Lovely to have you both here, and I can tell you've worked together a lot because you didn't even call each other about your outfits.
We did not.
Just destiny right there.
Yeah, you're just used to working as a group. Okay, Keith, I'm going to give you the very first question. Talk to us about Jersey Boys and kind of the story behind the production, because I was honest with you and I said, I've actually never seen it.
No, it's okay. I hadn't either. So it follows Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. And so it's all this iconic music, and it's a jukebox musical. And it kind of just follows their story, how they came to be, all the like drama and the twists and turns. That's this music that we know, but this story that we don't. And it's a hit.
And it's a hit.
It's a hit. That'll make sense if you see the show. It's a hit.
Oh, I see. Well, I will tell you guys that even though I've never seen Jersey Boys, December 1963 is like one of my favorite songs of all time.
I get to sing that one.
Do you?
Yeah, it's
Big
my
song.
favorite.
Okay, I get to hear it. Okay, I'm so excited about it.
Maybe multiple times. Maybe.
Okay, all right. Have me on the edge of my seat here. Nick, let's talk about how Jersey Boys, I think a lot of folks know, is a longtime Broadway fave.
Sure.
So a lot of folks will have seen some version of this or know the storyline. Will you tell me about how this Austin production, is similar or dissimilar from maybe something that people would see on Broadway?
Well, I mean, the beautiful thing about Jersey Boys is that, the songs are always going to be there. Sherry, Big Girls Don't Cry, Walk Like a Man. I could keep going on and on. They're always going to be there.
Hits.
So many hits. From top to bottom, you're going to know pretty much every song that we go through. And we go through about 30-something
We go
songs.
through a lot of songs.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs. But the beautiful thing about Jersey Boys is that you can have all these different visions. And our director, Cassie, had this wonderful vision for the show that's going to be different from what people saw in New York, for sure. That's the great thing about doing this show. This was my fourth production doing this, and everyone has been radically different. And that's what I love about the show, is you can have so many different visions, and all of them can be brought to life in very different ways, because the text is so wonderful and the music is equally wonderful. My God.
Absolutely. Okay, well, and it probably helps that you're actually from Jersey, right?
I am. That's a little secret. I just
He has a
told you,
leg up.
Born and raised, very proud Jersey boy, and my family had this dream for me before I even got to do it. So I'm very grateful to be here.
Boy, they have to be proud. Oh my goodness.
think so.
Okay, I do want to ask a little bit about your characters, because Nick, you do play Frankie Valli, which is a lot of pressure, quite frankly. Talk to us about Frankie Valli as a character. Is it easy to embody him, or do you kind of have to stuff little portions of the real Nick aside?
Well, the singing part's always going to be hard. That's going to be, that's what people know Frankie for, is that high falsetto. But the beautiful thing, I keep using the term beautiful because I really do think the show is beautiful.
No, it is.
Is that I didn't know much about Frankie growing up or as a child, and we meet him at about age 15, and we grow with him through almost age 70.
Whoa!
So you're forming, these scenes are written, but we've never seen these scenes in front of our eyes, So you get to kind of form your own character as Frankie, and I like to think that I've made Frankie my own, as well as respecting the history of him and the group and the writing and all that stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot of totally paying homage, because he is in recent memory, right?
Just won a Grammy.
People know what Frankie Valli sounds like, so it is a big role to take on. We're talking about Bob Gaudio. You had to tell me how to pronounce his last name, Keith, but why don't you tell me a little bit about him as a character, and if he feels similar or dissimilar to you as a person?
Yeah, absolutely. So he's the songwriter of the group. He wrote all the hits for Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And so it's just really interesting to play a songwriter behind the keys. He's kind of like the businessman, the brains behind these four guys under a street lamp in New Jersey. Like, he really helped drive them to that commercial success. And so what's really cool is just his relationship with Frankie Valli and how they had this deal, and it was all on a handshake, and it's lasted so long.
Wow.
And it hasn't been contested. It just is like truth between these two guys, and I think that's what the audience gets to see in the show, is that truth between them.
That's amazing. It doesn't really happen anymore. A handshake's not exactly as good as your words.
Not so much.
Or truth.
Or truth, absolutely. I'd like to know, this is a question that I didn't suggest to you guys off camera, but can I hear, just because now I know that you guys are doing 30 plus songs, is there, for example, Nick, a moment of the show that you really love every single night that you're like, even if you're not in it?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many moments that I love in this show, but we were just talking about this in the other room. I sing a song called "Can't Take My Eyes Off of You,"
my
which I'm
favorite
sure
too.
you've heard. A lot of people have heard. It's been in so many movies and media everywhere. But it's a really special moment because I always look out into the crowd and you can always see at least a few couples grab hands because it's a lot of people's song. It's their song, and to recreate that magic for them is just super powerful, and it brings me, transports you back to when that song came out, and it truly does.
It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it really
That's
does.
so
Me too right now.
Whereas
sweet.
every night I'm finishing a quick change backstage and he goes for it and I'm like, I love you, baby.
Different
It's
worlds,
so
but
good.
same world.
Same connection.
You're jamming them on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. And what about you? A favorite moment of the show?
I think Beggin'. It's just such a good song, and it's the most dynamic stage sequence that we have in it. There's so much happening. It just was a lot of work, but it really paid off.
Oh, I love that.
That's my other favorite too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with them. I'm with them.
Cheering each other on. I really
That's
like
right.
this. Yeah. When it comes, Keith, to the singing, the dancing, the acting, etc., I know it's a big stage production, but is there, something more serious along the way? Are there any notes that we should be looking out for, a little bittersweet?
Yeah, I think because it's all this music that we know and the story that we don't, that we really get to see kind of like the harsh moments of like truth being broken and trust being broken. And so it's a really cool musical because you have these big fun numbers, but then you get like a 20-minute like drama that you really just get the spectrum of the whole musical of like what is human existence. It's not just one note show.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to go.
Yes.
Gentlemen, that's all we have time for. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you and break a leg, okay?
Thank you so much for
Thanks for
having
having
us.
me.
Of course. All right. The production is open now, guys, and runs through March 2nd. You can get your tickets to this exciting production at zachtheater.org or by calling the box office.